I began this YouTube channel in August of 2017, and it was originally focused on fan-made remasters, remixes, pitch shifts, that sort of stuff. In the beginning, I was really inspired by another YouTuber who was doing similar stuff. I'd been looking all over online for this kind of thing and had been struggling to find it. So as I started getting into it and realizing that I had a lot of fun making that, I decided to share it on the internet, because why not? If just one person out there was in the boat I was in, where they were looking for the stuff and weren't able to find it, and if I could just make that one person a little happy, make a video that I know that they would enjoy too, that kind of thing just really makes my day. I really enjoy the thought of that, I guess. Anyway, over the course of August and September, I made lots of these album remix remasters. I did almost every Green Day album, but unfortunately now almost none of them are left. The weird thing about the YouTube copyright bot is if your video gets too popular, even if you aren't monetizing the music in it, they will secretly block it. They won't tell you it's blocked, but as I logged in an alternative accounts, I realized that most people, after these videos reached a certain number of views or a certain number of likes, they just disappeared from YouTube for everybody except me. So even though I was incredibly proud of some of these videos, I'm still so proud of my Uno remaster, of my Dos remaster, and I'm really proud of the Cigarettes and Valentine's mixtape and a few other mixtapes I made at that time. But unfortunately, they're just no longer around. And as I realized YouTube was doing this in such a secretive way, it really frustrated me and kind of killed that experience for me. So in April of 2018, Billie Joe Armstrong released the Longshot project. I was in a boat where my hobby had become frustrating, and I also had a lot to say about the Longshot project, and I was in a situation where most of my friends at that time were incredibly busy and didn't have time to talk about music. So I decided to record my thoughts on the album and post it. And I was super surprised to find that the people who had subscribed at that time for my remixes and stuff, on the most part, actually really enjoyed that video. And even more surprisingly, I discovered in the process of making the video that I had a lot of fun making it. I had even more fun making it than I did making my remix pitch shift stuff. Now looking back, it's a pretty rough video. It was made in Windows Movie Maker in a pretty rough laptop, so I wasn't able to actually add or edit video. The audio kept glitching, so I would have to completely restart the video in order to check my progress, which was kind of a nightmare. But apart from technical limitations, and kind of in spite of them, I really enjoyed what I had been doing. And I decided that making videos like that could be a new hobby. So I went for it. I kept making those videos, and now it's a year since that very first video, and people are still enjoying them. So I just want to say I'm glad that you enjoy my videos. I'm not sure why you do, but I'm glad that you do. I still really enjoy making them. I think I'm getting better at making them every video or two, and I hope you stick around because I don't plan on going away anytime soon. Now, back when I made that video, the only Longshot album that I'd heard was the full-length LP, and I'd never gotten around to checking out the EPs. I checked them out later that year in the summer and fall, and I decided that I'd make a follow-up/remake video talking about every Longshot album and my thoughts on them, just for a little recollection. Now, the first hint of the Longshot were the songs Body Bag and Devil's Kind from the movie Ordinary World in 2016. Everybody was hyped when we found out that there were these brand new Billie Joe Armstrong songs in this movie. Body Bag and Devil's Kind were kind of an instant hit among a clique of Green Day fans. Body Bag certainly has a lot of charm as a kind of shitposty, grungy, drenched pop song lathered in cheese. And Devil's Kind is unironically a great song to me. It just has a really definite, really strong, fast energy. It's a great throwback to old classic rock, but with just enough punk edge to make it new and interesting, even though it's so familiar. It's kind of the perfect punky throwback to classic rock. I don't think I've ever heard a song that does it quite as good as Devil's Kind. After that, they dropped a little EP and then the full-length LP. Most of the songs recorded on the full-length LP were all played by Billie Joe Armstrong. He did every instrument and then layered them together in post. And overall, my opinions on that LP are pretty much the same that they were a year ago. The Last Time is a great sort of bar rock song. Taxi Driver is an amazing throwback to the Ramones kind of style of classic rock and classic punk. Chasing a Ghost is a fun spin into the 80s. Love is for Losers is a fucking great song. I love the lyrics. My heart's a has-been for my long lost Valentine, I searched the winter for my Bride of Frankenstein. This version of Body Bag isn't quite as good as the original, but it's still pretty good, same as the Devil's Kind re-recording that they released alongside this LP. I know that it has a new guitar solo and some new guitar lines, but I prefer the slightly more raw sound of the original. Cult Hero is an awesome throwback to the type of songs on Warning. Kill Your Friends is a kind of take on songs that they were going for on Dose, but with a lot more charm and a bit more grounding in the classic rock sound. I love that surfy guitar line about 2/3 of the way through that song. How Lonely Is Your Loneliness is a kind of weird song in there because it suddenly takes a nosedive to darker terms. And while I like all of the songs on the project, that one's probably the weakest. With repeated listens, and since I've been playing around with the mastering and realized more about the music itself, I've come to love Soul Surrender and Turn Me Loose a lot more than I originally did, and Turn Me Loose is now my favorite song. And then the last song in the cover is a cover. You know, it's a cover. Overall, the album's really fun. It's just Billy Joe Armstrong flexing his innate talent for making melodic and catchy music. Though unfortunately, it's really held back by the mastering. I said it in the original, but everything is overly polished, just way too polished for the kind of music that it's going for. And while the guitar lines are really good and the melodies are really good and the percussion is serviceable, a lot of the bass falls flat for me. There were only really 2 songs with memorable bass, and that's not necessarily a drawback. Not every artist, every band has to have that, but since Billy Joe Armstrong is a vocalist, it's just kind of bizarre not having incredible bass in the background. Having discovered that most of that one was done by Billy, I'm a lot easier on it than I was originally, and I've also separated it from the hysteria of worrying about what's coming up with Green Day in the future. I still worry that the next album will be overly political and stuff, but since I've seen that, as I didn't realize before, Trey's had a baby, I've kind of taken a step back, like, okay, Billy just wanted to make music while Trey and Mike were busy, it's fine. Overall, I'd give the songs themselves a B-, but unfortunately I still have to draw it back to a C+ considering the mastering. I have a remake that I did, a remix a long time ago, I'll link it in the description, that I think pretty much fixes a mastering problem, but I still have to judge it how it originally is, not how I contorted it to be, you know? Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much what you've heard, and now to move on to new territory. And I feel like an idiot for not going into the EPs right away because I like all of the EPs even more than the full-length album. They're way better. To get the shorter one out of the way, Bullets, it's absolutely great. It's the kind of thing that I never realized that I'd want, but now that I've gotten it, I love it so much, and I just want more. It reminds me a lot of Hearts Collide. The EP is just Billy unapologetically throwing himself to super cheesy, super poppy, super corny, over-the-top Beatles and 70s and even 60s pop. It's so fucking corny, but Billy is really good at it. As far as I'm concerned, he took all of the good from that era and almost none of the bad and made something that was incredibly, immediately timeless to me. I give the EP a B. I would give it a B+, but you know, it's only 2 songs, so I have to be fair. I won't be addressing the covers album because, again, me and covers don't really play well. So next is Razor Baby EP. And depending on my mood, Razor Baby is either my favorite thing the Longshot has done or my least favorite thing the Longshot has done. I absolutely fucking love the composition, the songs themselves for the first 3 songs of this EP. Fever Blister. It's that straight-up raw classic punk that Pinhead Gunpowder went for, drenched with lots of reverb and distortion. It's incredibly fast. I sometimes forget that Billy Joe Armstrong has this in him, and I'm so happy that he can still channel this. It might be one of the most ferocious and fast songs he's ever written. It really rivals the stuff on Insomniac to me. Razor Baby is a charming sort of garage rock song drenched in reverb and strangeness. Really makes me realize what Dose was kind of going for. Even listening to the demos from Demolicious for Dose, I didn't really get what the vibe was supposed to be, but having heard the song Razor Baby, I think it was supposed to be that. This kind of polished, super poppy, and sort of modern take on that kind of music. And then I've Got My Problems just has a great melodic guitar line, and the harmony stuff really evokes Foxborough Hot Tubs in a great way. Unfortunately, that being said, even though the music at its core is very harsh, very raw, the songs themselves are still strangely polished. It's incredibly strange how they can be so raw, but then still be lathered in and surrounded by polish. It's bizarre, like I really want to know how he did this. If it was just these 3 songs, then this album would easily be a B or a B+, depending on what mood I'm in considering the mastering. But unfortunately, Southern Girls is the bad kind of cheese, it's the trilogy kind of cheese, the Dose kind of cheese. It's the one real falter in the Longshot project. And since it's part of the EP, I have to include it, and that brings the experience down to a B-. So I give Razor Baby EP a B-. And overall, I really do like the Longshot project. It's pretty much over now, and we'll probably never get another Longshot project, but I'm happy it happened. And now all I can do regarding Billy Joe Armstrong is just sit back and anxiously await the next Green Day album. If they're doing a new album this year, I expect they'll drop the first single in June or July, so let's stay tuned and see what happens with that. If you haven't checked out the Longshot, I encourage that you do. I don't think that his official SoundCloud still has all of the EPs, but they're easy to find on YouTube at pretty much the original quality. Like I said, I have a link to a SoundCloud account where I did a remaster remix of the LP if you have problems with its overproduction. And overall, to the 20 or 30 of you who are still around for my pitch shifting days, and to all of the new people who've come, thank you for watching, and I hope that you've enjoyed my videos. I hope I've brightened your day somehow. I hope that you stick around and that you keep liking what I have to offer, and that you all have a wonderful day.